Warning, this video may contain frequent mix-ups of Stacey and Darcey. I mean, come on, they look exactly the same. Never mind.
I don't know, like I'm middle, like I know, can like take a side. You know, for me,
pick my side. My side. I'm your wife.
Over the course of this retreat, we've seen the sweet side of Stacey, we've seen the sad side of Stacey, and we've even seen her looking hopeless. But this is the first time that we're really seeing this level of anger, and things only get worse when her twin sister Darcey arrives.
You wanna my man or something? Are you crazy? I've never, ever in a million years would even have that inkling or that thought that you're thinking right now. That's disgusting.
That is taking it to a whole new level. For as much as Florian might insist that he sees Darcey as a sister, Stacey doesn't seem to agree. She seems almost jealous and triggered at the fact that Darcey is there. So could Darcey's presence at the resort destroy all the progress that Stacey and Florian have made? Well, before we get to that, let's rewind to the start. So, the last time we saw them, Florian was busy playing camp counsellor to the other castmates, including Gino and Natalie. But when we join them in this episode, back at the resort, Stacey wants to talk to Florian about that.
You have a big heart, and everybody loves you when they really get to know you, and you're willing to drop everything and anything to help people.
it's good to help people in life.
Stacey tells her husband that she loves the fact he has a big heart. I love how much you care about others and how you want to help them. It's wonderful, she says. But don't forget, we're at this resort to work on our own marriage first and foremost, she reminds him. Don't go getting so involved in other people's business that you forget us. And that warning is going to turn out to be more important than ever when Stacey's sister Darcey arrives.
Because a lot of the issues that we're having, Darcey is the key factor. So Darcey's coming to the resort tonight, but I just don't know how it's gonna go.
Stacey is nervous, right? Like any siblings. Sometimes she and her sister don't get along. But Florian gets along great with Darcey, and that has caused some major tension. It turns out a lot of issues within their marriage also directly involve Darcey. Yeah, so it might have sounded like a good idea when the therapist recommended inviting Darcey. But as her arrival gets closer and closer, now Stacey doesn't seem so sure. Problem is, it's now too late for her to change her mind. You see, at dinner that evening, Stacey has an announcement to share with everyone.
Darcey's here.
What?
Yeah.
Get out of
You guys are gonna meet my twin.
But at the
therapy.
resort. Yeah, she flew in because we need deep therapy.
Everyone seems pretty excited to meet Darcey. Everyone, that is, except for Stacey. She's visibly very apprehensive, and she tells them all that she's been arguing with her twin sister for her entire life. And what's more, the relationship that Darcey has with Florian doesn't exactly help things. Remember, we found out that Darcey often calls Florian at 2 a.m. wanting to party, and she just doesn't understand why that annoys Stacey. We have this weird dynamic between us, Stacey admits. We're always super competitive with each other.
But this is a twin thing, like, I don't know.
I think it's a twin thing. Yeah.
Are twins competitive?
Yeah. Imagine having two Jasmines.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think I speak for everyone when I say that one Jasmine is plenty. But you can see why this must get so exhausting. Why Stacey must hate basically competing against another version of herself. They share the same DNA. They practically look the same. And I wonder, you've got a question, is Stacey perhaps a little bit worried that Florian might be attracted to Darcey? Either way, as far as Florian is concerned, his personal reaction towards Darcey isn't because he finds her attractive, isn't because he wants to be with her. It, in fact, comes from a place of deep trauma.
I have 4 sisters and 2 passed away. It's very hard, you know, my point. Like, for me, it's changed since my sister passed away for me, it changed my life.
I can only imagine how tragedy like that would impact you. Florian says that not only has it changed him, but it's changed his entire life. I'm a different man because of that, he says. It's changed how I treat everyone around me. I hold my hands up and I admit, he says, that when Darcey calls me, I go even when I probably shouldn't. But, he says, there is a very good reason for that.
Since I'm married to Stacey, like I want to make Stacey happy, but I'm not going to cut Darcey away, you know my point? Darcey's my sister.
That is kind of heartbreaking, isn't it? I feel for Florian here. The guy's lost two of the people closest to him in his life, right? So obviously, he's not going to take bonds like that for granted ever again. Like, as he says, it's not like Darcey has replaced the sisters that I've lost. No one ever can. But I do still care about Darcey like she was my sisters. I can't just throw her away or discard her, even though I know that it causes friction in my marriage. And oh boy, does it cause friction. A whole lot of it.
I don't know, like I'm middle, like I know, can like take a side. You know, for me,
Pick my side. My side. I'm your wife.
Look at her. Stacey's unraveling and Darcey hasn't even reached them yet. Now, don't get me wrong. I see where she's coming from. Even though they are identical twins, that doesn't mean there shouldn't be boundaries. There should. Boundaries, but also priorities. Your wife should be a higher priority than your sibling, right? Now, at this precise, very tense moment, it's now that Darcey arrives, and guess what? She's ready to party. Now, at first, things get off to a fairly good start.
You're looking happy. You good? Yeah. Hey, Darce. Twin hug, twin hug. That's right. That's right. Get it, get it, get it, get it.
Stacey and Darcey seem relatively happy to see each other, but wasn't it interesting how Darcey greeted Florian before going to see her sister? I don't know, like maybe he just got up faster. But right away, pretty much immediately, the relationship between Florian and Darcey begins grating on Stacey.
Oh, thank you, Florian. My bestie. Oh, wow. You guys
Now you are one big family.
It probably wasn't the smartest move for Florian to sit slap bang in the middle of them both. I mean, the guy is in the middle of their relationship, right? So placing himself physically there as well isn't exactly the best idea. Now, Darcey admits, right, that the twin bond that she and Stacey have does impact all other relationships. So in order to fix those relationships, we need to fix our own bond, she says. That's why I'm here. But for as much as she says she is there to help, she also doesn't pass up the opportunity to provoke Stacey.
Actually, when they first met, he slid in my DMs too. No. Tell the truth. He liked your picture. He liked the picture.
The way that Darcey explains that makes it sound like Florian was desperately trying to get with either of the sisters. Now, Florian's response to that is he says he thought Stacey had 2 pages. It's always been Stacey that I've been after, he says. I just liked pictures on Darcey's IG. Nothing weird about that, he says. But you've got to say, it's starting to look like Stacey's fears might actually be true. Is Darcey so unhappy in her own marriage that she's now trying to sabotage her sisters? Well, something that supports that theory are the things that she's told Florian, things that Stacey now wants answers for.
He told me something here that I was very shocked, Darcey. Okay, like okay. What? Am I supposed to guess or something?
Darcey doesn't sound sympathetic. She doesn't sound like she wants to talk about Stacey's feelings. And in return, Stacey begins to shut down. She might have wanted to confront her sister about what she said, but the second she started to do that, she realised she wasn't ready to face it yet.
I'm not ready to talk about it because it's upsetting. It's upsetting. It's upsetting. Why are you doing this? Upsetting. And I want to go. I want to go. Florian, let me go.
Now, in all fairness, it probably would be better to have this conversation with one of the therapists present and also at a time where they haven't been drinking. Emotions are running high and it's only a matter of time before someone says something that they can't take back. The thing is, not wanting to drop the topic, Florian and Darcey follow Stacey as she heads back to her room and things go about as well as you might expect.
Did I trigger you by being here or something? Why can't you talk? Why you keep shutting me out? Stacey. Over it.
I think it's safe to say that Stacey is definitely triggered by Darcey's arrival, but that response isn't exactly logical or fair, because at the end of the day, it was Stacey that invited Darcey to come. Like, she hasn't even given her sister the chance to unpack yet, and here they are fighting already. Now, Stacey heads off to her room, and arm in arm, Florian and Darcey join her. And it's here that the conversation, if you can even call it that, takes a real turn for the worse.
Can I come in? You guys do whatever you want. Oh, come on. Darcey, shut the up. Shut the up. Tell me to shut the up.
Your whole vibe tonight, the way that you are, the way that you're being to me, the argumentative nature that you've adopted, really doesn't look good on you, says Darcey. Why are you being like this? And it's at this point that Stacey reveals, I think you and my husband have a better relationship than me and my husband have. Go ahead, Florian, says Stacey to her own husband. Tell Darcey what you told me.
I told to Stacey, you told me one night, like, Stacey not treating you good, you should be more single. You remember that night?
I don't remember saying that.
Darcey says she doesn't remember saying that, but if she did, it must have been at a time where I was arguing with her. But I'm sorry, that isn't a good enough excuse, is it? An argument with your sister doesn't excuse telling their spouse to leave them. I understand why Stacey is angry about that comment, but it isn't only that comment that Stacey's angry about. She's also angry that Darcey constantly calls up her husband in the middle of the night. She's constantly trying to drag him out partying with her, and I understand why Stacey's angry with that too. But, believe it or not, all of those gripes, pale in comparison to what she says next.
You wanna my man or something? Are you crazy? I've never, ever in a million years would even have that inkling or that thought that you're thinking right now. That's disgusting.
There it is. That is exactly what I was worried would happen. You know, I was talking about saying things you can't take back. Yeah, this is one of those things. Accusing your sibling, your identical twin sibling, of wanting to sleep with your husband is wild. Like, don't get me wrong, I know that it happens, right? But it's the sort of thing that you need to be pretty darn sure about before you start throwing around those accusations. Those are the sorts of character assassinations, right, that could burn bridges with not just her sister, but also her husband forever. Now, at this point, many of us might start to backtrack. Like, you might start to realise that perhaps you've taken it too far, but not Stacey. In fact, she keeps going.
You don't look happy. Neither. I am happy when you're not around. Then I'm out. Good. Bye. Deal with it. Bye.
Florian, up until now, has remained pretty calm throughout this entire encounter, but the stress is starting to get to him too. But the thing is, now that Stacey has got rid of one problem in her life, she turns to her husband and seems all too willing to get rid of him too.
Do you wish you were single?
No, Stacey, what the is this
Really?
question?
Why? Because sometimes I do.
Say, shut your mouth, serious, like, enough.
No, don't tell me to shut my
Ace.
Telling your husband that you sometimes wish you were single, yeah, that is a fantastic way to end a marriage. If that's her goal, then she's going about it the right way. She's deliberately provoking Florian. She's saying things that are going to push him away from her. And at the end of the day, there is only so much that the guy can take. After being calm and trying to keep the peace, Florian has now had enough. He's now reached his breaking point.
Stop acting like you married both me and my
Enough! Enough!
These two sisters bring out the worst in each other. Now, it may well be, right? It could be that Stacey's completely right. Darcey and Florian may well be too close to each other. But the fact of the matter is, she's allowed her jealousy to derail any progress that she and Florian have made up until this point. The two of them actually seemed like they had a good shot at making it out of the resort stronger than when they first came in. They looked like they had every chance to make their marriage work, but in one night, Stacey might have just set fire to everything. So can they come back from this? I hope so. I really hope that they can. But what is for certain is that for that to happen, not only will Florian need to start setting some firm boundaries with Darcey, but Stacey is going to need to learn to get over her jealousy. Right now, as things stand, I'm not sure either of them are going to be able to do that.